Netivyah International, www.netivyahinternational.org.
Shalom. I'm actually in the studio in Netivyah, and I'm ready to make a very special. I'm actually in the studio in Netivyah, and I'm ready to make a very special mind candy, a very unusual mind candy. I've never made a mind candy like it. I'm going to talk about one person. His name is Joseph Váktor in Hungarian. He was raised as Joseph Váktor near Budapest in the countryside. He was a young man. At the age of 21, he got married and opened a business of grain for livestock. Had a silo with grain and was selling food for animals. He had a younger brother named David. David was about 6 years younger than Joseph. And in 1945, the Nazis decided to march the Jews of Budapest and Hungary in general to the death camps of Eastern and Northern Europe in the winter, on foot. No train, on foot. It was a horrible march, death march. Many died on the way. They just couldn't stand the cold, the hunger, the thirst. Yosef and David, the two brothers, marched on that death march. Somebody couldn't walk, the Germans just shot him, and he fell down on the side of the road. During the march, Joseph sees an Orthodox Jew laying on the side of the road, dead, shot. And he was holding in his hand something that looked like leather, black. Joseph thought that he was holding a wallet with money. That Jew was holding this little book. Orthodox Jew, with peot, with the hat, with everything. He was holding this. This book was printed in London in 1923. You can see it here, 1923. And it says, הברית החדשה על פי המשיח, עם נקודות וטעמים, גם מראה פסוקים והערות על הגיליון. The New Testament of the Messiah, with vowel signs and the sounding, the music signs of the Jewish Torah, and with cross references. Very, very rare book. Joseph bent down to pick it up. He didn't know it was a book. If he knew that it is a book in the New Testament, he wouldn't have picked it up. But he thought it was a wallet, and he put it in his backpack. And only when he got to the camp, several days later, walking in ice and snow and cold and very little food, if any, he looked at it and he was in shock. It was a book. It was a book about Yeshua HaMashiach. Well, that was the only Hebrew thing he had to read. And he read it. And when he read it, just reading it from cover to cover, convinced him that Yeshua was the Messiah. But who is going to tell? Except his younger brother. First, they were separated for a season during the war. But eventually they met, and Joseph shared it with his younger brother, but with nobody else. But when he read it, something happened to that Orthodox Jew. He believed. He believed that this Jew, about whom it is written in the Gospel of John, chapter 3, for God so loved the world that he offered his only begotten Son, which means the only Son of that kind, because he loved the world so that no one will perish, but everyone has a chance for everlasting life. Hard labor, death camp, Nazi death camp. Joseph decided that he has to run away from the camp in order not to die. He found a way to run away, and he ran away. And it was winter 1945. All he had is the camp clothes that he wore. No blankets, no shelter. He slept in the forest, tried to find some kind of a shelter, some food. He found frozen berries in the European forest, which is not uncommon. And he learned to eat barks of trees and leaves and roots and all kinds of things that he found to eat, never to be fully satisfied, always hungry, and wandered about the forest in Eastern Europe. One morning he wakes up and he sees a shack. Smoke is coming out of the roof of that shack. Small house at the edge of the forest. And he says, I don't care who's there. I'm hungry. I'm cold. I need help. I'm going to knock on that door and see if they will help me. Well, he walked to that house, knocked on the door. The door opens up, and on the side of the door is an SS German Nazi officer with a gun in his hand pointing at Joseph. All Joseph says is, I'm hungry. I'm cold. The Nazi said, you escaped from the camp. He said, I'm hungry. I'm cold. The Nazi said, today is the first candle of Hanukkah and it is Christmas. Joseph said, I'm hungry and I'm cold. The Nazi said, okay, you see the barn? Go to the barn. Stay in the barn. There is hay there, you can sleep there. And I'm going to come and visit you and bring you some food. The whole house was a bunch of SS officers celebrating. Not Hanukkah. Celebrating Christmas. Yosef obeyed the officer And the officer brought him some food and some drink every day, until the Russians came and liberated Germany and Europe from the Nazi murderers. But Joseph still had that little black book, the New Testament. And he had read it several times, and I believe the Holy Spirit convinced him that Yeshua is the Messiah. After the war, he united with his brother that didn't stay long in the same camp, shared it with his brother, and both of them became believers in Yeshua HaMashiach. I went to the ultra-Orthodox rabbinical college, because one of my childhood friends challenged me and he said, how can you believe in Jesus and you knew nothing about Judaism? Which was true. I knew nothing about Judaism. I was raised in a secular, pork-eating and ham-enjoying and shrimps and lobster-enjoying home. I did a bar mitzvah, and I was circumcised, but nobody asked me before they did it to me. It was without my permission. That's what every Jewish boy goes through. Nobody asks you, can you spare some? You can or can't, nobody asks. So, dear brothers and sisters, how did I meet Joseph and David? One day, early in the morning, after our morning prayer in the Orthodox Rabbinical College, the rabbi came to his class, which was usually at 9 o'clock in the morning, and said, today we're going to go to look around the town of Tekoa. Tekoa is where Amos the prophet comes from, south of Bethlehem, north of Hebron, between Bethlehem and Hebron. And we're going to rebuild the old Jewish town of Tekoa, where Amos is from. So we loaded cars. I had a Volkswagen 1200, bigger than normal Volkswagen, hatchback, color orange. So I loaded it with people from the yeshiva, from the rabbinical college, and we drove to Tekoa, and we went out. And since I was already a graduate of the Hebrew University in archaeology, I explained, and we found something very interesting in Tekoa, octagonal baptistry carved out of one piece of rock. That means that there were believers in Tekoa before we went there to rebuild the ruins of that biblical city. On the way back, Joseph and Váktor sat in the back seat, and another yeshiva student sat next to me, and another one next to them. We were 5 in the car. Orthodox Jews are nosy. I had a correspondence course that I wrote in Hebrew and printed it myself on an offset machine that somebody bought for the ministry at that time. And there were 5 booklets. And Joseph stuck his hand in the back pocket of my Volkswagen seat, pulled out the 5 booklets and shared it in Hungarian with his brother, David. Now, what they didn't know is that I knew Hungarian. I didn't know a lot of Hungarian. I knew a lot of cuss words in Hungarian. Hungarian is like Arabic, very rich language in cuss words. So I knew a lot of cuss words in Hungarian, but I understood a lot of Hungarian. My next door neighbors were Hungarian Holocaust survivors. So I got scared. Here are these 2 Orthodox Jews that work in the Orthodox Rabbinical College, and now they have my correspondence course there. Well, everybody got out of the car at the Rabbinical College on Mount Zion. These two don't get out. So I'm afraid they're going to beat me up. I got beat up several times in my life because I'm a disciple of Yeshua, a believer in Yeshua, the Messiah. So I decided to go to the main square in Jerusalem, Zion Square. I parked the car and I said, get out. They said, lifted up the courses, said, do you believe this? I said, yes, I do. I wrote it. They said, we do too. From that day on, until they died, our path never separated. They were among the founders of Netivyah. They were teachers in Netivyah congregation. They were active. And when we had persecution, terrible persecution for months and months and months, they stood with us and with Yeshua. Now, Joseph was weird, there's no doubt. Why was he weird? Because when he was in the forest in the winter of 45, and all he had to eat was leaves and roots and frozen berries, he never returned to eat normal food. He ate only green food, not cooked. One time, Marcia invited him for dinner and she cooked green beans for him. He ate them. He got sick from eating cooked green beans. And Marcia was a good cook. Yes, very good cook. And she loved Joseph and David Váktor, and they loved her. So here it is, the value of a little black book. I'm repeating it. The value of a little black book. When I was younger, I used to carry a little blue book of the New Testament, a little bit smaller than this. Plain little black book that says in Hebrew, Brit Chadashah, the New Testament. There is no better witness than this little black book. The book is the best witness. We are auxiliary. We are there to help. We are there to give it out. Joseph and David Váktor, among the founders of Netivyah Bible Instruction Ministry, Orthodox Jews, faithful to the Lord, got beaten, suffered for the Lord, suffered for the kingdom, never wavered even a little bit from their dedication and faith, simple, pure faith, without any other interest than to do what is right and godly and faithful to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to Yeshua, the Messiah. That's mine candy. Give away Bibles, New Testaments, not embellished literature with Christian theology. That only confuses people. Just the plain good news that God so loved the world that He sent His only begotten Son so that no one will perish, but everyone can have everlasting life. That's our witness. God bless all of you. Please stand with us. Pray for me. My wife died a month and 2 days ago. I'm having very difficult trouble coping being alone at home. Everything reminds me of Marcha. I hung a big picture of Marcha in our dining room. Her purse is there. Her comb, her hairbrushes, I cleaned them today. I need God's help and your help. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Netivyah International, www.netivyah international.org